The preparatory committee for the fourth International Conference on Financing for Development is being held in Addis Ababa. The conference aims at accelerating the progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. In his keynote address to the event, Foreign Minister of Ethiopia Ambassador Taye Asqeslasse said that the conference provides an opportunity for global reflection on the Agenda 2030 by advocating for the full implementation of the Action Agenda.
After successfully hosting the third International Conference on Financing for Development in 2015, Ethiopia is honored to host this first prep session. I thank the co-facilitators for their leadership, as well as UNDESA and UNECA for collaborating with Ethiopia in preparing this meeting. When the Addis Ababa Action Agenda was adopted as a means of implementing the Sustainable Development Goals, it raised enormous expectation and enthusiasm. Regrettably, the Addis Ababa Action Agenda is not being fully implemented as anticipated. We convene today to take stock of its achievements and gaps, to revitalize our commitment and find innovative ways to implement the pledge we made a decade ago. It is therefore pertinent and timely to chart out a more pragmatic and ambitious approach in view of the multiple challenges we face globally. Excellencies, poverty and hunger are on the rise. Geopolitical tensions are threatening global peace and security, consequently so undermining multilateralism. The COVID-19 pandemic has aggravated the debt crisis in most developing countries and has led to a decline in government revenues. The extreme impacts of climate change are eroding development gains in the most vulnerable countries. Many developing countries lack financial resources to effectively respond and mitigate the effects of climate change. Existing financial mechanisms such as development aid and climate funds are inadequate, fragmented, unresponsive to the special needs of developing countries.
Ambassador Taye suggested that global financing architecture must be reformed to be more inclusive and equitable. He also stressed the need for revamping efforts to combat illicit financial flows and support endeavors to enhance international cooperation.
In evaluating the reasons for failure to deliver on the promise of the Sustainable Development Agenda, it is fitting to mention the words of the UN Secretary General, who warned us that without massive investment, our vision of creating a world free of poverty would remain elusive. This conference, therefore, provides an opportunity for global reflection towards rescuing the 2030 Agenda by advocating for the full implementation of the Addis Ababa Action Agenda. Excellencies, as we commence the preparation for the fourth International Conference on Financing for Development in Spain next year, it is incumbent upon us to identify the gaps in the implementation of the Addis Ababa Action Agenda. This process should lead to the adoption of a transformative and ambitious financial framework to achieve the SDGs as we promised and agreed in 2015.
The minister particularly suggested major pointers to meet the agenda, pointing out the importance of recognizing sufficient financial resources globally to meet the Sustainable Development Goals.
In our view, the outcome in Spain should be anchored on 5 major points. First, we must recognize that there are sufficient financial resources globally to meet the 2030 Agenda. What is lacking is political will and commitment to deliver the necessary funds. The international community should thus galvanize the collective will to channel and deliver this much-needed funds. Second, the global financial architecture must be reformed to be more inclusive and equitable. Developed countries should advocate for and support reforms in international financial institutions to ensure that their policies better address the needs of developing countries. Third, we must revamp efforts to combat illicit financial flows and we should also support endeavors to enhance international tax cooperation. Fourth, developed countries should enhance their contribution to climate finance, including by operationalizing the loss and damage funding mechanism. These financial resources should be directed towards building resilient infrastructure, enhancing social protection system, and supporting agriculture and energy development projects to address both immediate needs and long-term development goals. Fifth, debt relief initiatives should be scaled up both at multilateral and bilateral frameworks to solve unsustainable debt burden and unlock investment to SDG-related projects. In this regard, we expect concrete commitment from lending countries and institutions. In Ethiopia, we allocate more than 60% of the annual budget to SDGs, consistent with our position of maximizing domestic resource mobilization. We are implementing national flag projects in energy, social protection, tourism, digital technologies, and urban development sectors. Ethiopia is also implementing a Green Legacy initiative pioneered by His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, in which close to 40 billion seedlings are planted to curb the impacts of climate change, promote food security, and create jobs. Such national development initiatives should be supported by enabling international financial frameworks. While Ethiopia stands ready to share its experience, the global financial institutions and developed countries should provide concrete support to such national efforts. Finally, let me take this opportunity to invite all of you to visit some of the sites in Addis Ababa that demonstrates how local innovative financing initiatives have enabled us to realize successful projects in Ethiopia.
Finance Minister of Ethiopia Ahmed Shide on his part underscored on promoting innovative financing mechanisms such as public-private partnership to mobilize finance for successful realization of the development goals.
We are gathered today from every corner of the globe, each playing a diverse but indispensable role in critically reviewing our achievements and gaps and in devising sustainable ways to finance our development. We are united by a shared vision, a vision of a world where every individual, regardless of their background or circumstance, has the opportunity to thrive and prosper. Financing for development is not merely a financial endeavor. It is a commitment to justice, equity, and a well-being of all humanity. Ethiopia, a nation rich in cultural heritage and millennia of civilizational history, is proud to host this significant event. Our country stands as a testament to resilience and determination, striving to overcome challenges and forge a bright future for our people. We embark on an ambitious journey of economic transformation, aiming to lift millions out of poverty, enhance infrastructure, improve education, and ensure health care for all. 9 years ago, in 2015, Addis Ababa saw the adoption of the Addis Ababa Action Agenda during the third Financing for Development Conference. This agenda laid the foundation for a new era of global cooperation and ambition in financing development. It underscored the need for a comprehensive, holistic, and transformative approach to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
Ahmed highlighted Ethiopia's efforts in domestic resource mobilization, reform tax policy and administration, guarding private sector participation in public investment projects, among other related issues.
Central to Addis Ababa Action Agenda is the recognition that each country bears primary responsibility for its social and economic development, supported by an enabling international economic environment. Reflecting on our progress, significant stride has been made in poverty reduction, education, health, sustainable energy, and gender equality. In response to Agenda 2030 and our commitment to combat climate change, Ethiopia has made substantial achievements in restoring millions of hectares of degraded landscapes through initiatives such as the Green Legacy Initiative. This is a champion initiative by the Prime Minister which is soliciting millions of Ethiopians every year in these collective actions by Ethiopians. This initiative aims to combat environmental degradation, promote reforestation, and enhance climate resilience. We have managed to increase our national forest cover to 23.6% from 14.7% in 2014. Our path towards climate resilient and green economic development focuses on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, promoting renewable energy sources like hydroelectric, wind and solar power, and fostering sustainable agricultural practices. These efforts not only reduce our carbon footprint, but also provide sustainable and reliable energy to our communities. Our policies support climate-smart agriculture, enhancing food security, and mitigating climate change impact through sustainable farming practice. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, despite our achievement, developing countries like Ethiopia continue to face significant financing gaps, which affects hard-won progress and are exacerbated by recent global crises such as the COVID-19 pandemic, geopolitical conflict, and economic instabilities. The escalating debt burden is particularly concerning, with many countries allocating more resources to debt services rather than investing in basic social services.
The minister reiterated that innovative financing mechanisms such as debt for climate swap, carbon trading, green bonds should be promoted and leveraging technology for sustainable development.
We should critically examine the challenges and implement coordinated actions to accelerate the implementation of sustainable development goals. In response to these challenges, the Financing for Development agenda must adapt and evolve. We must advocate for comprehensive reform of the international financial architecture, including improving global economic governance, enhancing debt relief measures, and reducing cost of sovereign borrowing. We must explore and implement innovative financing solutions to mobilize resources effectively, including public-private partnerships. Mobilizing private investment and strengthening multilateral development banks are also important steps. Innovating climate financing mechanisms such as debt for climate swaps, carbon trading, and green bonds should be promoted and extensively used. Excellencies, ladies and distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as we embark on discussions in these days ahead, I urge each one of you to contribute your expertise, ideas, and passion so that we collectively build our collective intelligence to address the collective challenge towards inclusive, equitable, and sustainable financing. Let us reaffirm our commitment to the principles of Addis Ababa Action Agenda and collaborate towards a world where sustainable development leaves no one behind. Through collective efforts, we can achieve the ambitious goals set before us, creating a fair, just, and prosperous world for all. Let us approach this journey with determination and hope, knowing that today's effort will shape a brighter, inclusive tomorrow.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres stressed that many commitments are remaining to fully implement the Sustainable Development Goals, even though a lot has been achieved so far.
9 years ago, world leaders met in Addis Ababa and agreed on a transformative agenda committing public and private actors to align investment and policies with sustainable development. Yet, despite progress, we must face facts. Many commitments remain unfulfilled. Meanwhile, the world is facing seismic shocks that make financing challenges harder to solve. On the other hand, geopolitical divisions undermine collective action. Faced with sky-high debt burdens and cost of capital, developing countries have limited prospects of financing the Sustainable Development Goals. The Fourth International Conference on Financing for Development provides a unique opportunity to tackle these challenges head-on. It opens the door for world leaders to adopt ambitious reforms to deliver affordable, long-term financing at scale and deliver the SDG stimulus. And it presents a unique opportunity to reform an international financial system that is outdated, dysfunctional, and unfair, from the tax and debt architecture to the system of public development banks, to trade and investment rules, to the financial safety net and global governance. Your process has a unique mandate to look at all these pieces of the puzzle in a holistic manner and through the prism of the 2030 Agenda. We will need the best ideas to inform discussions and maximum political will to act. And so, I welcome the initiative of the government of Spain to convene a high-level commission of experts on financing for development. I count on all of you to move forward with the determination to rescue the 2030 Agenda, and together we can deliver not only a financial system, but a world that is more just, equitable and sustainable.